It's whatever. Just move on, and I'll just continue talking about the game. Steph Curry was unavailable on the offense tonight, scoring 20 points, 6 of 19. Klay Thompson, 7 for 15, 5 of 13 from the field, 23 points. He only really did well in like the first half of that game. After that first half, he was completely gone. And obviously, like this level of inconsistency coming from Klay Thompson is uncharacteristic, given how great of a shooter that he legitimately is. So, with that in mind, seeing him come off the bench is a little bit surprising, but it might be necessary, because if he's going to be this unpredictable shooting the ball, then he might be a liability on the floor. But not really much to say about that game, given how recently, like I said previously, like it's really difficult to stop Jokic dropping a triple-double. Now, another game that happened over the weekend that was pretty significant was Dallas losing to the Indiana 111. I was talking about how Luka Dončić wasn't in the MVP conversation, he is in the MVP conversation, but he wasn't in like the top 3 or whatnot. But again, this is one of the reasons why he's not in those top ratings, because he's losing a lot of games like this, because his team doesn't do enough for him. And if you look at I'll talk about the box scores of all of these sides. Now, Halliburton had 17 points and 10 assists. Benedict Mathurin had 14 points and 11 rebounds. Andrew Nembhard had 15 points. Miles Turner had 33 points. Pascal Siakam had 12 points. TJ McConnell had 12 points. And Ben Shepherd had 15 points. So obviously, the scoring was very well. The scoring was pretty even throughout the entire matchup, and throughout the entire Pacers bench. Now for the Mavericks, however, Luka Dončić 33 points, Kyrie Irving 29 points, and Josh Green with 14 points, and that was it really, in terms of the offense coming from the Dallas Mavericks. And that's not good. That's not a winning team. They need to do better in terms of playing winning basketball. And this isolation, with Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving, so far, it's it might not be the right way to go about it. But, again, it might just be, it was just one loss. Maybe it was just one bump in the road, and they'll go right back to winning right afterwards. But again, it's these types of losses, he can't have these losses, otherwise it hinders his MVP talks. But some more, another important game that happened over the weekend was the Knicks going up against the Boston Celtics, 116 to 102. Just got someone in the chat. Good, yeah. Again, I don't know what's been going on. This has never happened before when I've been streaming. And it's really infuriating how now it decides to happen on one of the more important days. But okay, what can you do? The Boston Celtics beat the Knicks 116 to 102. Obviously, the Boston Celtics are by far the best team in the Eastern Conference. They have a game difference of 7.5 games. Now, what that means is that the next team that's going to catch them is 7 wins. The next team below them is literally 7 wins less than them. And to put that in comparison, the Western Conference, the team that has 7 wins less than the 1 seed is the 8th seed. So the gap between the 1 and the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference is exactly the same as the gap between the 1 and the 8th seed in the Western Conference. That is literally the entire playoffs. So, with that in mind, the Eastern Conference might be even it might just be Boston going all of the way at this point in the Eastern Conference, because the game difference between every other team and that team is insane. And the Celtics are literally like, if you look at the records just like as a whole, they are literally on a completely different level than the rest of the Eastern Conference. And because the rest of the Eastern Conference from 2 to 8 is relatively even. Their records are relatively even. But as soon as you cross that threshold from the second to the first, it is not an easy climb. And obviously, like, the Knicks, they're still suffering, like, with players that are injured. So I don't really think that this loss is something that the Knicks have to worry about, given how, again, like, this Boston Celtics, they're a great team, and the Knicks weren't even at 100% when they went up against them. So I still think, like, the Knicks are in a great spot, and however, I'm not entirely sure if they're going to win the East now, given how ridiculously top-heavy the Eastern Conference has become now with the Boston Celtics holding that number one spot. But with that, we're out of time for this third segment, so I will go ahead and go into the fourth segment where I give some hot takes from internet fans of the NBA, brought to you by Court Coverage. It's an Instagram user, so I'm going to go ahead and look at his post and talk about the hot takes. Hopefully my microphone doesn't do the thing again and just completely ruin my life. So with that, I will be back after this short break.